Thank you, Arunima, and good morning, everybody, and welcome on board for today's annual virtual meeting of SES. I shall be talking about international training opportunities of eczemas and beyond. I am sure that many of our colleagues, particularly junior colleagues, who have an aspiring career and very eager to learn. Many of them are interested in eczema. Will be interested to listen to what are the opportunities are there for them at the international level. So when I talk about the international fora of eczema, so this comes first because this is the first and the topmost global eczema society, International Eczema Council. There are other eczema societies like American Society of Eczema, European Society of Eczema. In both, there are mostly American dermatologists or European dermatologists who participate. But this is truly global, which I'll show you subsequently that how global it is, then people, how they have joined from different parts of the world. So International Eczema Council was founded by none other than Dr. Amy Paler, who is considered as a legend in pediatric atopic dermatitis in the world, and Dr. Emma Goodman-Yaski, who is very well known for her work on atopic dermatitis across the world. So they started in 2014. And this is a true global organization because as you can see here, it is dedicated for improving the patient care by promoting research, education, and best practices in the treatment of atopic dermatitis in people worldwide. And it is governed by a board of directors, and it is represented by counselors and associates from 145 counselors and associates from 32 countries, and across the 6 different regions of the world. So International Eczema Council organizes conferences in various global meetings like AAD, EADV, YAKI, and many others, as well as they organize their meetings in region, in various regions. Maybe in next few years, we might get to see that, the International Eczema Council may organize a meeting here in collaboration with Society for Eczema Studies. I am privileged to be a counselor of International Eczema Council over last 7 years, and an education committee members over last 5 years. So our job is to decide about different kinds of fellowships, who will be granted that, then different meetings, where the meetings will be conducted, what are the different types of topics will be covered, as well as the day-to-day running of the academic activities of the International Eczema Council. And once we decide about that, we send our proposals to the board of directors for the final call. That is how it runs. As you can see here, the current directors of the education committee are Dr. Valeria Aoki, is a very famous name in atopic dermatitis from Brazil. Dr. Nick Reynolds, from Newcastle. And we have also Dr. Alan Irwin, who is the current president of International Eczema Council. He is the only person in the world who has contributed 4 chapters in Rook's textbook of dermatology. And we are very honored to have him today, though it will be a recorded lecture, because he won't be able to join physically, but this is a privilege for us. So there are different types of fellowship, like US Clinical Fellowship, International Eczema Council's, clinical fellowship, the research fellowship, which is 1 year in-person research and mentoring, then US Research Fellowship, IC International Research Fellowship, and then Canadian Research Fellowship. Now, in IC, what does this US Clinical Research Fellowship mean? So let me explain to you. The clinical fellows are paired with an expert from IEC counselor in a US-based clinical setting. Please note it, US-based clinical setting to learn hands-on clinical techniques for diagnosis, treatment, and management of atopic dermatitis. The program combines in-person mentoring and observation along with distance learning. So initial 4 weeks is in person. You have to be there in the center in US. Then subsequent 11 months, you will communicate, you will be in touch with your mentor over virtual platform. So nowadays it has become much more easy. So that's why we are using this virtual facility, because in person becomes difficult both for the mentor and the mentee, as well as cost factor is also there. Most of these persons during fellowship, they will be observing clinical activities of the patient, and for that there is a grant of 5,000 US dollar, which comes to nearly 4.2 lakhs in Indian rupees as a fellowship stipend, and up to 2,000 travel reimbursement. The host institution will receive 1,500 US dollar. So all these, awards are processed in US dollar currency. So what does this clinical fellowship mean? What is the curriculum? The curriculum includes prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of atopic dermatitis, including conventional and recently approved topical and systemic treatments. And the topics may include, but are not limited to, only pathogenesis, but there are a wide variety of topics, different clinical subtypes, emerging epidemiologic and diagnostic data on atopic dermatitis, and emerging atopic dermatitis and comorbidities of atopic dermatitis, all the topics which we have discussed in our Society for Eczema studies umpteen number of times. Now, expectation from a fellow. Clinical fellows are required to attend a major scientific dermatology congress with their mentor to choose an activity from the following, like deliver a presentation at a major conference, submit an abstract or manuscript for publication in a national and international dermatology journal. This is what is expected from a fellow, actually. And after this fellowship, your fellowship will be evaluated. It will be determined by various, factors like your evaluation of the data which you have taken, then surveys which you have done, then interviews, and the completeness of your presentation, as well as it will be used to measure the fellows' increased knowledge, competence, and all these things, performance. So not only that, it is given the fellowship and we forget about it, it will be properly evaluated so that you get the final part of your grant also. Currently, in 2024, this year, the two fellows, two mentors are, one is Amy Perrer from Chicago, USA. The other one is also from USA, Portland, Oregon, Eric L. Simpson. They are two big names in atopic dermatitis. I am sure that with Oregon, Portland, that reminds you of someone who is considered as father of atopic dermatitis, none other than John Hannifin. So how to apply? International candidates, that is outside US, are also welcome. This is very, very important for all of you. Please note it. Fellowship awards are contingent on availability of the funds and the receipt of sufficient meritorious applications. So you have to have, good number of publications on eczema, particularly atopic dermatitis. To apply, applicants must also include current CV. All these are there on the website of International Eczema Council, and you can go and read it if you are interested. But still, I am going through very briefly and quickly. And you should get an recommendation either from your department chair or residency program director or clinical supervisor, or you can get it from IEC counselor or board member. That means I can also, give you a recommendation letter, but only once a year or one candidate a year, not more than one candidate. And, you have to state the purpose and description of career goal with focus on atopic dermatitis interest. And how do you, envision the fellowship to impact your future? These are all the things you have to mention very clearly. So you have to choose your mentor and, connect your mentor, interact with your mentor, and your mentor will, guide you. And for further questions, you can go to our, International Eczema Council's website. Alan Seitz is our CEO, and you can contact him. He's a very helpful person. The fellowship program in 2024 was funded by Pfizer. Now, program objectives is to, improve the ability of diagnosed atopic dermatitis, the candidate's, ability. Then demonstrate the proficiency using various topical and systemic treatment available. Demonstrate the skills to better counsel atopic dermatitis patients. This is very, very important. Apply new methodologies and techniques. Submit a manuscript on atopic dermatitis research. Sorry, there are some unwanted sound. Naveen, please, could you see to it? Then, counseling is very, very important, because in the board of directors of International Eczema Council, you will be pleasantly surprised to know there is a patient of atopic dermatitis. This is a very important part of International Eczema Council. I shall be coming to that while discussing about patient education program of our Society for Eczema Studies. So fellowship programs, requirement are, I have already mentioned what you have to have. And for international candidates, as I mentioned, they are most welcome, but they must fill up all the, required qualities and all the formalities. Eligibility criteria. Eligibility requirement and recommendations: that it must be fluent in English, must be an MD who has recently completed or is near completion of residency. So while doing your MD also you can apply. Publication credits are given, obviously, and mostly they see the, eczema publications or your a list of patient advocacy work is encouraged. This is very important. Patient advocacy work, I shall come to that at the end once again, I mentioned. And academic settings are preferred because, they will be granting the academic institute for this. And national and international applications, this is for US, are accepted. So all of you have got a chance. If you are interested, so you can go to the website and check, and then you can apply. And it is industry sponsored. Now, this is important for us. Developing and low-income countries. India is still a developing country. I am sure that, most of our colleagues who have joined, they know that India has a target to achieve the developed countries level in the year 2047, exactly 100 years after independence. Right now, we are developing country. So international clinical program is open to all. However, recognizing the pressing need to address the underrepresentation of specific regions and countries in medical fellowships, there is a concerted effort by IEC to tackle this issue head-on, with a particular emphasis on areas such as Africa, Southeast Asia. So India comes under Southeast Asia and South America. These regions often face significant challenges in accessing medical fellowship opportunities, particularly those related to atopic dermatitis. Please note it. ICE is actively working to identify and support candidates from underrepresented countries while aiming to alleviate financial barriers that may impede their participation. So these important strategies allow individuals from underrepresented countries to contribute their unique perspectives and experiences to the global medical community. Let me tell you, friends, people internationally are very eager to know Indian experience, Southeast Asian experience, particularly Indian experience, because they know the Indian doctors are very intelligent and very hardworking all over the world. Everybody knows. So they want to learn about Indian atopic dermatitis. What are the expectations? To attend a major scientific dermatology program, to choose an activity, to deliver a presentation. These are all I have mentioned. And also the fellows will be awarded a sum of $2,000 reimbursement to support travel to a congress or major education. And this must be used for the travel and accommodation. It is not meant for your food, etc. And as I had mentioned earlier, post-fellowship evaluation will be done. If you are interested to apply, there are centers like in South Africa, Professor Nakuza Dolva is doing, Dolva is doing. Our good friend Dr. Karsten Floor is doing in King's College, London. Then in Canada, Melinda Godarham, our another colleague, is doing. University of Dusseldorf, Germany, Bernard Home is doing. And our very known Dr. Mark Ko is doing in Singapore. Then Stephen Wedenberg is doing in Germany, Kiel. And in Kyoto, my good friend Kenji Kapsima is doing. He's a wonderful basic science researcher on atopic dermatitis, one of the best in the world. So sponsorship, this particular fellowship is sponsored by IC Foundation. So research fellowship, you can see it is 1 year on site with 70 to 80% is spent on it. And the amount which is given is quite huge. It is 51 lakhs because you have to be there for 1 year. So this is approximately little more than 4 lakhs per month in Indian rupees. And what is the curriculum and how do you have to do it? That you have to submit an abstract and manuscript presentation in a major conference, as I have mentioned earlier, and you have to undergo the post fellowship evaluation, like clinical fellowship, and how to apply to prevent save time. I'm not going into detail. You can read it out from the website of International Eczema Council. This is again sponsored by IC Foundation. There is a fellowship going on in Canada also, Montreal. Now coming to another aspect, that is the International Society of Pediatric Dermatology. Again, a global body, though there are American Society of Pediatric Dermatology, European Society of Pediatric Dermatology, but this is a true global body with, as you can see, the mentorship program. I am the current chairperson, and we had a wonderful mentorship program over last 1.5 years. And you can see our own Dr. Varun is there as a mentor. And among the mentees, there are people from different countries: Portugal, Nigeria, Nepal, Nigeria, then our own country, India. And out of these 5 mentees, 2 are pediatricians. Actually, pediatricians are also eligible to participate in it. So these are all mentee learning objectives, and all details are there on International Society of Pediatric Dermatology website. So I must come to the most important part of our Society for Eczema Studies. This patient education, particularly, we had a wonderful live patient interaction program, and this is the brainchild of our chairperson of SES Academy, Dr. Deepika Pandey. I congratulate her. for doing this wonderful job. And it has been very successful. And you will be happy to know that we have joined hands with another society, Skin Allergy Society of Dr. Kiran Godse. And the Indian Journal of Skin Allergy is the first of its kind from entire Southeast Asia. And to the best of my knowledge, the first publication which came with a patient's name, Poushali Basu, in the last issue of Indian Journal of Skin Allergy has really revolutionized the Indian dermatology literature. Once again, thanks to Deepika for that. Our future goal is to conduct SES exchange or collaborative fellowship, which is already being talked about in our International Eczema Council meeting as well as the core group of SES. And we have to do, we will do future programs in collaboration with International Eczema Council. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you very much, sir. This is such a much needed and profoundly beneficial topic, especially for younger dermatologists who are always looking for learning opportunities. And your insight on this is precious and invaluable to us. As we proceed with our next few sessions, I request all the viewers.
Thank you, Arunima. Thank you, Arunima.
Thank you, sir.